Good evening, everyone. My name is Landis Jeray Morgan. I'm here with my beautiful co-host.
Hello, I'm Rotunda Morgan.
You guys are tuned in to another episode of
Living More with the Morgans.
It's Tuesday night, you guys, and it's a brand new night, and we finna bring it to you live and direct right here on Living More with the Morgans. Right now, you are tuned in to several different channels. If you're watching us on Facebook, you're watching us on facebook.com/Living More Morgans. Salute to everyone that is watching us on our Facebook page live.
Yes.
You also on our Twitter page, twitter.com/Live More Morgans, and you may be also on our YouTube channel. And so right now we are streaming live on those channels, live and direct. But you can find us all over social media, you guys.
Yes.
And so we'll get to that here in a minute, and we'll give out all the handles on where you can find us. But right now, we just want to make sure that you guys can hear us, that the audio is coming across clear and succinctly, that the visuals are coming in clear. So let us know that you guys can hear us. We see that our very own Apostle Sean Anika, our very own spiritual father, is the first one on the broadcast. And right now, he says he is watching us all from his 55-inch curved 4K TV. He had to be descriptive and just let us know that it's got to be the curved 4K joint. We can dig it, Papa. We can dig it.
Papa.
And so if you guys can hear us loud and clear
Mama.
on your end, thank you so much for tuning in. Let us know in the comments
If you
that
can
everything
hear
is
us.
coming through crystal clear, that the
Yes.
visuals are coming through clearly. We just want to make sure that we're doing things in the utmost excellence. We
Yes.
got to, you guys. Why? Because if we're sitting here talking and you can't hear us, then what's the point?
That's the point of
You
being
dig? And
on.
so we just want to make sure that you guys can hear us across all of our platforms. Right now, if you're tuned in on YouTube, we can't see you, but if you can hear us loud and clear, be free to let us know. Feel free, to let us know on the comments in YouTube that you can hear us and everything is coming through clearly. And so, you guys, we've got a great show for you tonight. But before we even get into that, again, I just want to make sure that you guys are on our social media channels. And right now, you guys, we're all over social media. I'm going to be honest with you. Why? Because we're on Facebook, we're on YouTube, we're on Twitter, we're on Instagram. If you're on Instagram, we definitely want you to follow us on Instagram for more content that you won't find on any other platforms, And you can find us on Instagram.com/Living More Morgans. And we're now on TikTok, fam. TikTok. We're going to be doing all our crazy dances. We're going to be doing all our stupid stuff on TikTok. You know how people do on TikTok.
Yes.
But no, you guys, we want you to follow us on TikTok. TikTok. I can't talk.
TikTok.
Can't talk. TikTok.com.
Yes.
/@Living More Morgans. And so all you got to do is type in Living More with the Morgans, and you're going to find us on all the major social media platforms.
Right.
All across social media. And so we want you guys to subscribe on YouTube. We want to get that subscribership up, you guys. We want to hit that 100 subscriber mark this month of March. By the end of March, we got to hit 100, you guys. And so we want you to subscribe, hit that bell icon for notifications, and be sure to keep up with us on YouTube, because we're going to be adding some content there that's not going to be anywhere else, you guys. Exclusively on our YouTube, exclusively on TikTok, exclusively on Instagram. It's going down, you guys. And so be sure to like us, follow us, connect with us, comment, share. We want to hear from you. And this show tonight, you guys, we want you to engage with us.
Please.
And so feel free to leave comments, leave questions, leave statements. If you're for it, if you're against it, whatever. Why? Because we want to engage with you. We want to hear your thoughts. We want to hear your opinions. And we want to make sure that we're giving out information. You know, and we do clean content on this show, right? There ain't no cussing, ain't no none of that hoopla, none of that foolishness that we got enough of out there.
Yeah.
But we want to engage with you because, one, we want to make sure that this is content that is, that's cool for you, that you're digging it, that you love what it is that we're bringing to you every week, Tuesday nights. And that also, if there's some topics that you want us to talk about and that you want to chime in on, feel free to interact with us. We want to hear from you. Let us know.
Yes.
All on our social media channels. You can hit us in our inbox. You can hit us in our DMs. And just let us know what you want to talk about, what you want to hear more about from Living More with the Morgans. And so, again, you guys, while we're doing this and before we get it started, we want to just do a roll call just to see everyone who is on right now on the social media channels. Our very own spiritual moms is in the building. Prophetess Beverly Anike, she is on. She says, hello, I am here, son and daughter. Absolutely. So Papa and Mama are on the
Thank
Living
you.
More with the Morgans broadcast, you guys. So thank you so much for tuning in. We're going to have a good one tonight.
We're going to have a great
Why?
one.
Because we got to close out February right. This was the month of love.
Love.
You dig? And see how she's starting, y'all? She be starting.
I was taught by the best.
No.
She's on tonight. I was taught by the best. Prophetess Beverly.
Oh, y'all some cougars. Oh, y'all some cougars.
I
That's
was
how y'all do it. Ain't that right, Papa? They some cougars. Them older women, boy. This February came in and they was ready.
See how you.
See, no, you started. You come on nudging and everything. See, yeah, y'all. Get you a cougar, fellas. They be ready.
I'm not a cougar.
Yeah,
I'm just a seasoned, sexy woman.
Okay, I'll take that.
Come on now. Yeah.
Seasoned, sexy woman.
Seasoned,
SSW.
sexy. Come on now.
I can dig that.
You dig it?
Seasoned, sexy woman. Sounds like a cougar to me. But yo, you guys, we're going to keep it going tonight. So again, thank you so much. Share this on your wall. Share this on your platforms right now.
Yes.
Let people know that Living More with the Morgans is on the air right now.
Yes.
We want to engage with you. And so you guys, we've got a good one tonight because we're going to cap off the month of love, February, with our final show for the month of February.
Yes.
And we got to because, March is coming. We're about to hit the spring months.
Right.
We didn't have no kind of winter here in Dallas, you guys. I mean, we had like one and a half week of winter.
Right.
And
real cold.
yeah, real cold.
Yeah.
And that was it. Like we had ice for like a week or 3 days and it was gone. And so right now we're gearing up for the spring. And so we've got some great things coming for the spring months, great things coming in March. Yes. And so we've got to close out February, the month of love, the month of Black History. If you didn't catch our Black History show at the beginning of the month, the first Tuesday in February, I admonish you to go back to our YouTube channel or our Facebook channel and check out the first episode of February where we did a tribute to the Black History Month. And so all month we were celebrating the achievements of African Americans in this country, of Black people in this country, and Black people around the world. And you know what? We're not going to just end it on February 28th, right? I mean, that is the shortest month, but you know what? We're going to keep it going. And so anytime that we can salute, anytime that we can pay homage and respect and honor to people of color, specifically our African American and Black brothers and sisters around the world, then let's do that. And so we're going to keep Black history going. It's Black history forever. Right. You dig? We're not going to just, get it down to just 1 month. No, we're going to have this thing going throughout the year. Right. And so we're going to celebrate the accomplishments and achievements of then and now and the future that's to come. And so I admonish you guys, go back on our YouTube channel, check out the first episode of February about our Black history, and you'll definitely love that. And so again, we just want to make sure that everyone is coming across clear.
Yes. And Mom said, no, we're not seasoned sexy women. We're seasoned sexy kingdom women.
Oh, she do the K in there.
Oh, she put the K in.
She put the K in there.
Okay, we're gonna get a T-shirt.
Okay.
We're gonna make some T-shirt on that, Mom. Yeah, that's what that is.
SSKW.
Yeah, SSKW.
That's another word for holy cougars.
Mom, I'm about tired of your son. I'm tired of your son.
Papa, am I right? That's another word. That's a good word that they done come up with now for Kingdom Cougars.
Anyway,
I like Kingdom Cougars better.
Anyway, our brother Shervin Blasey is on. He said, "Hello, brother and sister.
Shervin, what's going on, Chief? Thank you so much for tuning in.
Thank you for coming
and
on.
I believe Della Yvonne is on as well. Della, let us know that you can hear us and that you're in the building.
Yes.
Thank you so much for tuning in, sister. We just definitely appreciate you and for coming in. Let us know that you're in. Everything is coming across clear on your end. Yeah. And so you guys, again, get on your wall and share. And if my eyes don't deceive me, I think Iffy, is that Iffy? Yeah, I got my sunglasses on, so I can't really.
Let me look.
I can't really make. I see the hat.
Let me look.
I see the name.
Let me look. Let me see.
But I think, that's Iffy.
The Dominator.
The Dominator's in the building, y'all.
Hey now. now?
The Dominator is in the building.
Dominator?
Iffy, the Dominator is
Come
in the
on
building, you
now.
guys. Shout out to Iffy. Thank you so much, sis.
She laughing
because
at
I
us.
know she's been holding us down in prayer. We've been
Yes.
holding you guys down in prayer. And they
Yes.
just celebrated the anniversary.
Yes.
They just celebrated the anniversary, and I know they've been busy. I know they've been doing their thing. So shout out to the Ikekawas. Happy
Yes,
anniversary to you guys.
We love you
Love you guys.
guys.
And so she said we played too much. And so you guys, we're gonna have it. You know, we're gonna have fun on here.
tonight, yeah.
And so you guys, again, thank you so much for tuning in. We're gonna get it started because we got a good one for you tonight. And I love the topic because we're gonna close it out. Last week we had a topic called "What Love Isn't."
Yeah.
You dig?
Yeah.
What love isn't, and
Right.
we kind of talked about all the things that love is not. Basically, you
Right.
know what love shouldn't be depicted as, and
Right.
sometimes in our society, this is what we're showing as love today, and it is the total antithesis of what true love should be and what it really is.
Right, right.
And so tonight we've got our show called "Do You Know What Love Is?" And we're asking that question: do you really know what love is? And again, just to end out the show, the Love Fest for the month of February, we got to ask that question: do we know what love is? Because again, what we've been seeing, what has been modeled in front of us, and I really want to hone in on marriages and relationships
Yes.
on this show,
Yes.
because we talked about societal stuff and societal issues on the last show, but I really want to focus in tonight on marriages, because we're seeing a lot of funky stuff in our marriages, right?
Right.
And this show, of course, we're people of faith. We're people of the kingdom, and there are people of all walks of life that watch this show and that are tuned in around the world. And so they may not necessarily be Christians. They may not necessarily be people of faith or whatever, or people who believe. And so they may have a different standard or a different belief system or different things in how they showcase love, or how they define love within their relationship or within their marriage. And so we're coming from more of a perspective, you guys, of course, from a Christian kingdom, faith-based perspective, right? And so what we're seeing today from our perspective as believers, as Christians, is just like, man, the true essence of love as we know it should be is missing in a lot of our marriages and a lot of our relationships. And it's sad to see, because I think of us as Christians, as believers, as people of faith. Our faith is grounded in love above anything else, above preaching, above evangelizing, above prophesying, whatever you want to, all that stuff is noise if we don't have love, if it's not rooted and grounded in love.
Right.
And so some of the things that we're seeing in our marriages don't exude love. They don't exhibit love. And that's scary.
Right.
And it's been like this for a good minute.
Yes.
I'm 42 years old, and I know you can say the same thing, in your mid-50s, is that you've seen this for a long time in kingdom Christian marriages of faith.
Right.
And I think even my Muslim brothers and sisters, I'm sure they can say the same thing, is that you're not seeing love being exhibited in the household, in the families. And again, as people of faith, or if you want to say that you're a religious person, whatever you want to call yourself, your religion or your faith most likely is grounded and founded on love. That's the key component. That's the common denominator. And if you're not finding that in the relationships, if you're not finding that in the marriages, then, man, we got some work to do.
We do. And that's why we wanted to do this show and close it out with truly talking about marriages and truly talking about relationships. And what do we define love in our marriage, in our relationships? Love is an action word, and we say this a lot, which is the truth. It's about action. But do you understand, or do we understand what that takes? Okay, getting married, and I remember, just to go back to when we first started dating,
Right.
and everything. I remember when I first knew I fell in love with you. And I remember telling an old friend of mine, and I said to her, I said, I think I'm in love with this man. Now, again, we didn't know each other prior to anything. We just, we knew each other at church.
Right.
And we started talking, we started dating a little bit and everything. And then I started to I really started praying, actually.
Right.
And my friend said to me, she said, how do you know you love him? How do you know that you're in love with him? And I began to tell her, okay, well, I love the fact that we could talk about everything, world issues, relationships, everything, that I could be open and transparent with you at that time.
Right.
It was just that dialogue. We had so much in common.
Right.
We had stuff that wasn't in common, of course, but it was you were so interesting to me. Your outlook on life, your passion for people, your love for people, your love for people in the faith, your love for people around the world, my same passion I had.
Right.
And they literally added up to those components that made me start to realize, I think I'm falling in love with this man. Yeah.
Wow. And I remember being somewhat afraid of that
Yes.
because I was so much younger than you.
Right.
And I respected the fact that you had been married before.
Right.
And you were coming out of the marriage, you had come out of the marriage and everything. And I understood how devastating that could be.
Sure.
You
of course.
even defined it as kind of like a second death, if you will.
Absolutely.
A divorce is like a death.
Yes.
Me, at that age, in my 20s, I couldn't comprehend that.
Sure. Yeah.
Because I had never experienced that.
Right.
I had never experienced, one, that kind of love. Two, I had never truly experienced really falling in love. I had past relationships, past girlfriends and stuff like that, a lot of infatuation, a lot of things that I thought were true love. But when I started falling in love with you, I was afraid of it.
You're right.
You see what I'm saying? And I was running,
He
basically.
was running,
and
guys.
I was running because I'm like, hear this, and okay, I love living more with the Morgans because we can be honest and transparent on here. I don't know where other people can be, but we can be on here. I was running because I was young and I was broke. To be honest, I was broke. Not just broken, I was broke. And being that you were just a beautiful woman and you were a good woman, you were a wholesome woman, I wanted to add to you, not subtract.
That's good. Yeah.
You dig what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do.
I really did. And so I was running because I felt not that I didn't add up and that I was inadequate, but I felt like at that point in my life and all the stuff that I was going through, the loss of my father,
Yes.
in between jobs and stuff and just trying to find who I was and my career and so forth,
Yes.
I wanted to add to you. I didn't want to be a liability.
That's right.
I wanted to be an asset, and I wanted you to be an asset to me.
Absolutely.
And so I ran from falling in love because I was saying to myself, I was kind of trying to sabotage it myself because I was like, am I ready?
Yes, you were. You know what I was calling you at that time?
What's that?
Landa Gump.
Land of Gump.
Run, Forrest, run.
Yeah.
You were running.
Yeah.
You wrote me letters. You came over to my apartment. You had
Yeah.
wrote a letter, and I remember saying to myself, okay, this is a headache. It began to be a headache, and I was like, okay, maybe he should go ahead and go.
You know, but the thing is, it was funny because all those times when I tried to give you that space,
Yeah.
I was miserable
Yeah.
because I knew I needed you. Like I knew I needed you, but I was scared to have you because of the age, because again of where I was at the time.
So you was afraid of the SSKW.
Okay. No, I was not. I was not afraid of the SSKW. And it's funny you say that because, I can go there. I had old relationships with older women before you.
You did.
I
You
did.
Yeah.
And so I wasn't afraid of necessarily the age difference, but I knew that with you, it would take all of me.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
And because I was young, not that I was just so much immature, because I don't believe that I was, or you wouldn't have found any interest in
No,
me.
you weren't.
But I was running, and I was trying to hide my feelings because, again, I felt like, what can I can't make this woman's life better, you know. And also, along with that, I didn't know what love was.
Right.
So I was asking myself the same question: what is this? What is
Right.
this feeling? I don't know this feeling. You know what I'm saying?
I do,
When
yeah.
we're apart, I'm miserable, and I'm asking myself like, yo, why I ain't? I'm going back to that time.
Okay.
I'm asking myself those kind of like, what's up with this? What's up with this chick? Come on, why am I miserable? Why am I depressed because I'm not with her? Oh, she popping her collar, y'all. She popping the collar. Oh, dirty collar. But no, but seriously, I was asking myself these questions, depressed, not eating and stuff. I'm like, what is this that I'm feeling about this woman when
So
I'm
you
not
were
with her?
going through that?
I was going through.
Are you serious?
I was going, and you know what? And it was funny
So
because
it took this show for you to tell me that you were going through that.
I've told you this before.
No, you have
Oh,
not.
well, you're hearing it for the first time. Dadgummit. So, no, but on the cool. And so, you know who I was talking to about this? My mom.
Really?
I was going to my mother and I was like, Mom, what is this?
Right.
Because Pop had passed.
Yes.
And I'm going to Mom. I'm going to the few friends that I did have that I could confide in.
Right.
But I'm going to people and I'm like, yo, what is this I'm feeling? Because I didn't know what love was.
Right.
And it was on the job training, basically. I was figuring
the
it out.
job training.
Yeah, I was figuring it out while I'm in this thing.
Right.
And it was tough. And it was shaky, it was rocky, it was scary. But I wanted you. I knew I needed you. I knew I needed you.
Wow.
And so, and asking the question, do you know what love is? Sometimes in marriages early on, you may not,
Yeah.
because you are merging two different worlds together. You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
I'm merging your family, my family,
Yes.
our ideologies, the way we
Yes.
think. We're merging this
The way
together.
we were raised.
The way we were raised, the
Absolutely.
age difference, the
community,
generation.
yeah.
You grew up in a different generation
I
and a
did.
different time.
Right.
And so we're merging all of that together. Our values, our moral systems,
Right.
how, like you said, how we were brought up,
Right.
how we handle money,
Right. All of
how we handle our emotions, all
Right.
that's different.
And people have to be those that are dating, and that are looking to be married. You have to ask those hard questions, ladies, especially. You have to ask those questions because you don't want to be. Let me tell you something that is so true. When you're dating someone, they send their representative.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
They don't send themselves. They send the representative. And so you have to ask those questions. It doesn't matter how fine he is. It doesn't matter how good looking he is. If you're wanting to get married and you ask that question, are you ready to get married? And they say, well, I don't know, maybe not. Look, don't fool yourself. That probably means that he's not ready.
Right.
Okay? And so you don't want to go into starting to date and to be in a relationship with someone who is basically telling you that they're not ready for that next level. You want to wait. And if that means that you have to sever that during the dating stage, look, it's early. You can shoot deuce quick then.
Right.
But don't get hung up on the fact that, this guy looks good, I'm ready, somebody, that guy might not be ready. So we have to ask these questions. And what is love? You have to ask the questions so that you will know where the mindset of that person is. And once you know that, you can either continue on, or you can say, okay, this is not what I'm looking for.
Right.
Let me move on.
Right. And like I said, for me, I knew that it was what I needed. So backing out was not an option that I gave myself.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And plus, I had prayed for you. I prayed, and I tell you guys how I prayed for her, and I share this all the time with people, is that I wrote God a four-page letter. Yeah. And I was coming out of a relationship with a young lady in Hawaii that I thought was going to be my wife. I thought she was going to be the one. Mm-hmm. And coming out of that relationship, I remember just saddened. I was kind of like, and I'm being very transparent when I say this, because I want somebody to hear my heart and who's struggling with this. I didn't give myself to every girl that I was with.
Right.
But I was looking for that wife component in the girls I was with. You understand what I'm saying? And for me, I was mature for my age. But a lot of them, and no slight to them, they're great young ladies even today, they didn't have that it component for me.
Right.
And so when I broke the relationship with the young lady in Hawaii, and she's gone on to be married, she's got children, great relationship now, beautiful family now that she has. I wrote God a letter, a 4-page letter, and I said, God, this is what I want in a wife. This is what I need in a wife. And I broke it down to him spiritually, mentally, physically, emotionally, and sexually. I broke these lists down on these 4 pages. And I told God, I said, if I can't be 100, if I can't be straight up with you, then who can I be straight up and 100 with?
Right.
And I was raw and I was explicit in that letter, and I still have that letter. And I was to the T explicit. When he sent me you, initially, it doesn't look like what I put down on paper. It doesn't look like what I asked him. But as we started dating, as we started getting to know one another, and as we started becoming more involved, I started checking the list off in my head.
Okay.
Right?
Right.
Because I knew the list backwards and forwards. I felt like I just got to write it for God so that he knows. Right? As if he didn't know. And so in my mind, I'm checking this list off. Good mother. Because when you're single and you're dating a young lady who has no kids, you don't know if she's a mother or not.
No.
So that was on my list, good mother. How God flipped it is you were a mother before you met me.
Yeah.
I didn't have to find out when we have kids if you're going to be a good mother or not. I was able to see that in how you were raising your daughter while we were dating. So I could check these things off as we're going.
Right.
That's why I couldn't back out. You were falling in love, and I'm fighting falling in love. Right?
Right.
Why are we saying this? Why are we kind of giving you our backstory? Because if it's not built on that, if it's not built on love, you're going to have a tough time. If it's built on, man, the sex was good. She tossing that thing. You know, he buffing and big, and he coming with it every night.
Right.
If it's built on that, you're going to have a tough time.
Right.
Because in marriage, there's going to be some things, there's going to be some grits that are going to hit the fan. There's going to be there's going to be some arguments. There's going to be some difficulties that you're going to go through. And just because she can throw that thing, that ain't gonna matter.
No.
You dig what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
That's not gonna matter.
No.
Or lady, because he fine and you know, and he popping that thing from the back, that don't mean nothing.
They don't mean nothing.
That don't mean nothing when you're looking at your bills and money's not coming in and you're trying to figure out how we're going to make it from day to day.
Right.
The sex being good or the oral being good is out the window now.
And like you were saying, you know, with the bills, love is a provider. Love is
Yes.
a protector.
Yes.
Love is communication. Love is honesty.
Yes.
Love is openness. Love is transparency. This is love.
That's love.
That's love.
Love is not going to hide
No.
things
No.
that are imperative in the relationship.
No.
And so we had to learn that.
We had to.
We had to, you know, because we was driving all up on the curb. And we're tearing up the fender and the bumper and the tires and the wheels and everything.
Right.
And we had to back that thing up and say, hold up, this isn't working. Why? Because we put the cart before the horse in some areas. And I can be real with this.
Yeah, we've talked about
We've
this.
talked about this openly and transparently. Is that the
Yes.
word? Okay.
Yes.
With transparency.
With transparency.
It's like,
Right.
I know me being younger and you being an older woman, you know, and I'm being honest, fellas. I know my fellas
He
can
was
feel
a
me.
mess. Yeah, come
I
on.
was a mess. You know what I'm saying? I had to have a test drive.
He was.
You dig? I'm not finna roll a Rolls Royce off the showroom floor without a test drive. I got to make sure that this bad boy suits me. I'm being real. I'm being honest for that time.
Right.
That's how my mentality was then.
Right.
Not now, fellas.
Right.
But then that's what my mentality was. Young, dumb. And you know the rest of that. So when we had the component of intimacy and sex early on in our relationship before marriage, it brought in a lot of junk.
Yeah. A lot of issues.
A lot of issues.
A lot of issues.
A lot of emotional things
Yes.
that dampened our relationship and dampened us, because now I've got these ties to you physically, emotionally, sexually, and vice versa
That's right.
that we've introduced into our relationship
Right.
way too early.
Yeah.
Way too early. And then when an argument comes up or a disagreement comes up, guess what comes in?
That. Yeah.
That comes in.
That comes in.
That emotions attached to that.
And I want to say something right there. And this is true. When women, ladies, don't be pressured to do anything that you know you don't need to do or want to do. I don't care how much that man is feeling you. And that was something that I talked to my husband about. You know, I felt a bit pressured in that. Because, you know, at the time he was feeling me, he was digging me and all of that, which was great and fine. But in my mind, I was like, well, I'm not really wanting to do this yet. You know, I want to get to know you even more.
Right.
So this is something that I had to learn in my early years. Don't allow no one, or don't allow any feeling of pressure to be there in the relationship. You tell him, I'm wanting to wait. If you're wanting to wait, you tell him that I'm going to wait. Are you okay with waiting? Now, that's up to them. Right. You know, if they really are wanting, you know, to go further into marriage, they will do that. Do not allow yourself to be put up under that microscope or that gun as if you feel as if you have to do that.
Right.
Okay? I will tell any woman. I mean, literally when I started in that area, I was way over my 20s before I wasn't even in high school doing all that stuff like that. But once I found him and I knew this was someone that I, you know, wanted to be with, and it's just like it fit.
Right.
I felt that pressure. Don't let anyone allow any man, and I have to say this to the ladies, to pressure you, because they do that. Right. Not intentionally, some of them, but a lot of them, yeah. You know.
Yeah, and I just want to clarify. I wasn't pressuring her to like, yo, we got to do
No, he was not.
this. No, I was always a gentleman.
Yeah,
a
make that
gentleman
clear.
with
No, it wasn't that.
No,
Yeah.
And so, and I would
I
tell.
put the pressure on myself.
Right. I know what
actually.
you're saying. I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
And I would say to fellas out there as well,
Yeah.
is that you're not dating to just date.
No.
You're dating to find a wife, to be with a woman,
Yes.
right? And so I don't go drive a Toyota and test drive a Toyota if I'm looking for a Bentley, right? I'm going to Bentley.
Okay.
Now, I'm not trying to equate to cars, so hear me out. What I'm saying to my fellas is that we've been wired to conquer. We've
That's
been
good.
wired to get as many women as we can. We've got that Solomon complex. I need
right.
300 wives and 700 concubines.
Right.
We have that pre-wired in us.
Right.
That's why you have to be what? Renewed and born again to get rid of the iniquity, to get rid of that junk that we come pre-programmed with.
Yes.
Right?
That's right.
And so when you're dating with purpose, as Ifya said on here.
Yes.
You're dating with purpose. You're dating because I want to be married to one woman that's going to be my wife and potentially the mother of my children. This is the one I'm going to build a legacy and a family with.
Right.
That's why you date.
That's right.
You're not dating because, I'm trying to see what that look like and what that
Right.
feel like and
Right.
how big that booty is.
Right.
You're not dating for that. And if you're a grown man, you should have either gotten that all out of your system,
Right.
or you should be renewed in yourself and in your purpose to where you don't even need that.
That's right.
Your body doesn't need that. Your mind doesn't need that. Your spirit don't want to touch that because you're focused on, I know that I'm purpose driven and I need a woman, I need a wife who's going to be purpose driven with me.
Right.
And when you and when you're focused on that, then your dating can be much more blissful,
It can be.
right?
It will be.
And then you know what to check off.
Right. Right.
Because I had gone through what I knew I didn't want. So now I'm looking at all the things that I do want. Once I had that conversation and wrote that letter to God, I'm saying, okay, God, you've shown me all that I don't want or what didn't fit me. Nothing against those ladies. They are great for someone else. But if they're not checking my boxes, mainly spiritually, I'm not talking about just the physical stuff.
Right.
If they're not checking my boxes spiritually, then they are not the one. And I got to tell my fellas this, and ladies, the same thing. When you're dating and you're talking to a young man or to a gentleman, he's got to be checking all the right boxes. He's got to be checking the boxes with communication.
Right.
Is he being straight up and honest with you? Is he being
Right.
straightforward with you? Those are boxes that you should have in your mind that he's checking off.
That's right.
And I would tell the young ladies that are out there, take your list to the Lord. Now, he knows what you need. But he's never said to you, oh, well, don't come to me as your heavenly Father with what you want. God has never said that. He already knows what you want. But take your petition, take your request, and make them known unto him. And beat it up against him. So that way, your list is really checking your heart.
Right. That's right.
You dig what I'm saying? Your list is really a reflection of what it is in your heart that you really value.
That's right.
And then God is going through your list with you. And he's saying, daughter, you really don't need that. I know you want that, but I know that you don't need that. Because if your list is comprised of, he got to have a job, and he got to make 6 figures, and he got to be rolling in the Benz, and he got to have his own crib, okay, God could be saying, again, bumping your list up and saying, he is the provider, but right now, he's a manager at McDonald's and he's only making $24 an hour. Or right now, he's in between jobs and he's working on establishing his business, or he's going to law school, and right now he's not making the money that you're requiring on your list. See, my list was what I wanted in a wife.
Right.
But God knows better and what I need down the line.
Right. And what God does do, especially for us as women, is that he shows us, you might not be quite there yet, but he shows us he'll get there.
Right.
He shows us this is what I have for you. He might not be quite there.
Right.
Okay. But he has the qualities and that you've been asking me for that I have for you.
Right.
So we have to
Watch your hair.
Huh?
Watch your hair on the microphone.
Oh, sorry.
There you go. That's good.
Yes, and you have to be you have to wait on God in that area so that he can show you that, or show you the guy that you're looking for or looking at.
Yes.
So sometimes they're not. I mean, come on, you guys. Not every man's gonna come with everything you want.
Right.
He's not. Just like every woman is not. So you're going to have to be patient. And if you see something in that man, especially us as faith-based people, and
Yes.
those who have a God, we know when God is sending that person, we know something. We know that God, this probably is it. We can kind of feel something. He might not have all the boxes checked off, but the major majority, major things he do have.
Right.
He's respectful. He loves his parents. He loves his mom. Okay. He respects your children. He's showing you that he loves your children. He will show you those things if you have children. He will show you that he respects you. Those are some of the things.
I know you're absolutely right, and I want to say this to the ladies out there that are watching, the single ladies especially. The moment you lower your standards, you're done.
Yeah.
Because if a woman, and hear me out when I say lower her standards, there's one thing to say, oh, he got to be making six figures and driving a Bentley. The standard is you want security and a provider.
Right.
You don't lower the fact that he needs to be a provider,
Right.
and a protector,
Right.
and secure you. You don't
Right.
lower that standard for
No.
for the sake of just having a man.
No.
But your expectation or your dollar figure amount may be what God is saying. I know what you want, daughter, but I have the man that you need, and he is the provider, and he is the nurture, the security that you're needing. So don't erase that off your list because, oh, I just got to get a man. Because what we're seeing, again, we're talking about, do we know what love is? Love comes with a foundation that says, I'm bringing this to the table as the puzzle piece that fits your puzzle piece.
That's right.
If that puzzle piece if they don't lock together, then guess what? That piece is not supposed to be there. And you're trying to jam this piece into the crevices or whatever you want to call it. You're trying to jam this piece in there and it don't fit. And so what happens is sometimes sisters and brothers will lower their standards to make something fit that's not ordained to fit in that piece. It doesn't make up the full picture of the puzzle.
Right. Right. And when that happens, always look for trouble. It's never going to be right. You're always going to have issues because we compromise. Like you said, do not, men or women, do not compromise at any cost. I don't care what they're offering. I don't care what they're saying. I don't care. Do not compromise because what God has for you is for you.
Right.
And sometimes we have to wait. Look how long I waited. I went through a first bad marriage and had to realize you were young, okay? He said he loved me, and it wasn't that we didn't love each other, but we weren't mature, especially him. We as women, we mature quite, quicker than you guys do. So I was initially pretty much ready, but he was not.
Right.
Now that doesn't mean he's a bad person. He's not. I'm just saying he wasn't ready.
Right.
So we have to remember that when we lower our standards and someone is not ready, be ready to take on some issues and some things that you would say, I didn't know this was going to happen.
Right.
Do not try to put a square peg in a round hole or whatever.
Right.
If it don't fit, it don't fit. It's just like OJ was trying to put on that glove.
Right. If it don't fit,
you must have quit.
Right. Right.
You know?
Absolutely. And that's a great point. And I'm going to say this before we go to commercial break, you guys, because we got to pay some bills with the sponsorships and everything. But I'll leave you with this, ladies. Sometimes, and in some instances, you were not modeled love.
Right.
You didn't see love maybe between your parents, or you grew up in a one-parent home. And you may have grown up with a mother who didn't have good relationships with men, who didn't have a great relationship with her father or no relationship with her father.
Right.
So having the model of what love looks like to you may be horrendous.
Yeah.
And some women even see love as, well, he hits me or he beats me, but he does that to get me in line and or into submission, and you've been told or been made to think that that is love. Now we're going to go further into this when we come out of the break.
Yes.
But we have to really tackle the issue of what love isn't, like we talked about last week, so we can really hone in on, well, what is love? Because love is not abusive in any form. Love is not abusive verbally. Love is not abusive sexually. Not if love is hurting you. There's songs out there where love hurts. Love hurts. No, love doesn't hurt. Love should be blissful. Love should be peaceful. Love should be like tranquility. Love should be like, yo, I want to be in your presence like all the time. Mm-hmm. But if that is not the case and love is hurting, love doesn't diminish your value.
Right.
Love doesn't diminish you as a woman.
Right.
Or love doesn't diminish you if you have as a man.
Right. But you have to, when you're talking about those issues, I know we're going to go to commercial break, but when you're talking about that, love comes from within.
Yes.
And we have to talk about that. That's when you're going to know and understand what love is, when you love yourself.
Absolutely. And so you guys, we're going to take a quick commercial break. Don't go nowhere, because we're going to be back with more with Living More with the Morgans. We're going to keep the conversation going for a few more minutes before we get up out of here. So don't go nowhere. We'll be right back. It doesn't matter what they call you. What matters is what you answer to. Landis Uray.
Today, people and business owners have a ton of options to choose from when it comes to web developers, graphic designers, social media marketing, branding, and the list goes on. And that might not be such a good thing. What if there was one company that you and your business could trust that could provide all these services at prices that won't eat up your business capital before it gets off the ground? From logo design, branding, custom website development, hosting, social media marketing, print media design, and more. Infusion does it all under one roof with a team of professionals that are just a phone call away. Infusion Design Solutions, the infusion of exceptional design and affordability. Visit us online at infusion.com.
All right, you guys, and we're back to Living More with the Morgans. And tonight's show, we're asking the question, do you know what love is? And in the first segment, we were talking about marriage, and we're talking about how we personally had to build or rebuild our marriage on a stronger foundation of love.
Right.
It's one thing to build on love, but now you have to sustain that foundation of love throughout the duration of the relationship, of the marriage.
Right.
You don't build a mansion on a faulty foundation. And the more expensive of an edifice that you're going to build, the more maintenance it's going to take to maintain it.
Absolutely
Okay?
right.
And when I say expensive, I'm talking about the more valuable an edifice is, the more valuable the structure is, the more maintenance it's going to need and require.
Absolutely.
So those of us who have a faith-based kingdom marriage, you're going to have to understand that there's going to be more attacks. There's going to be more elements that are going to come down to knock down the structure.
Right.
Not only knock down the structure, but it's going to chip away at the foundation that you have.
Right.
And that's why it has to be solid.
Has to be. And when you say that, that means it has to be solid individually. Like when we went to a commercial break. When you come from a place or environment where you didn't see love demonstrated
Wow.
on a pure and authentic level, you question and you take on that that look of love that you have been around, and you build something from that. What we have to do, as I said earlier, is that we have to learn to love ourselves. I cannot love you if I don't love me,
Right.
and vice versa.
Right.
We've gone through that in our marriage, where when you were going through all the things you were going through as well,
Right.
you didn't love yourself. So in turn, it was hard for you to love me
Right.
because you were hurting. And I've been there. We have to be whole in ourselves first. And once and let me say this again to us, especially us as African Americans and Africans, or people of color, there's nothing wrong with going to see a counselor,
No.
a psychiatrist, a psychologist, whatever. Our spiritual father is one.
Yes.
When we were knee deep in this thing, to the point where we were getting ready to call it quits, God blessed us to find our spiritual parents, Apostle Sean and Prophetess Beverly Nike,
Yeah.
because we were falling apart. We were unhappy with ourselves. And it made the marriage difficult. This is the honest truth.
Right.
And we said, we don't want this to fall apart like this. We know God put us together for purpose. And we were blessed to be able to, this happened to us, to find Apostle Sean and Prophetess Beverly in our lives. They literally, and it wasn't easy. Let me say this, we had people we talked to before, nothing worked. But it wasn't easy. We had literally homework to do. There were raw conversations. Even Papa brought up one today where there were conversations where we've left there, we were angry with each other and kept the anger in the car and went home with it, really at each other's throats. But we had to grow up. And we had to look at ourselves and say, what is it that's going on? This is not something that you're doing to me or that I'm doing to you. This is something that is in me.
Absolutely correct. 100%. One thing I would slightly correct you on.
Sure.
Or tweak.
Tweet.
The help that we got from Apostle Sean and Prophetess Beverly, was not that we found them.
No.
Okay.
No.
We didn't find them.
No.
The only reason why I'm tweaking that statement is
Right.
because we accepted what was sent to us.
That's a better word, and I should have said
No,
that.
no, it's not about you
Yeah,
should have.
Right.
I'm using that as a teaching point for those who may be listening.
Right.
Is that we didn't find them
No.
because when we were looking, we were finding the wrong people,
thing.
the
Wrong people.
wrong counselors, the wrong folks that we thought would help us and give us help. No slight to them, but they didn't.
No.
When we stopped looking,
That's good.
you dig?
Yes.
When we stopped looking for what we thought we needed, then God was able to come in and say, no, I got what you need. That's how I found you. Yeah. When I stopped looking with my carnal eyes, oh, I need this in a wife, and then I need this, and she got to have this. And when I stopped doing that,
Right.
he sends you. So our help came to us
Help came
when
to
we
us.
stopped looking
Right.
in all these little different places that only our carnal minds knew where to look,
Right.
right? When that help presented itself,
Right.
then we had to receive the help.
We had to receive it. That's
You
right.
dig what I'm saying?
Yes.
And I'll apply this to scripture. Peter is not looking for help when he ain't out there catching nothing on the boat.
No.
He's not looking for no help.
No.
He's doing it the way he knows to do it, and that's what we did.
That's right.
Is we're looking for help or trying to figure out the situation the best way we know how based on how we've done it before. That didn't work.
No.
If he doesn't receive the help that comes to him by Jesus giving him a suggestion, hey, bruh, I see you've been out here all night. You
Right.
ain't caught jack. Why don't you try this?
Right.
Cast your nets on this side of the boat, because player, it ain't happening over here.
Right.
If he doesn't accept the help or receive the information or the suggestion, guess what? He's still toiling, catching nothing.
Nothing.
How we got our help, how we quote unquote found our help, was receiving the right help that was sent to us.
Right.
And you have to know when your help has been sent to you.
Right.
We talk about that parable when the floodwaters came and the person was on top of the house, and the person with the life raft, they dropped down the life raft and he rejected it. And the person in the helicopter came and he rejected it. And the person in the boat came and they rejected it. Well, you rejected 3 forms of help that were sent to you.
That's right.
And so the floodwaters came and came over your head and you're dead, and now you're in heaven asking God, well, God,
Right.
why didn't you save me? Oh
Right.
no, I sent 3 forms of saviors to you.
Right.
But you never received or accepted what it is and how it is I sent it to you.
Right. You have to accept it.
You
That's
have
right.
to accept the help.
Right. That's right.
You have to be discerning of the help, and you have to
That's
accept
right.
it.
And discerning comes with prayer. I was going to say that.
Right.
This wasn't without praying, especially us as women. I was still praying for God to send the help or for God to intervene. We have to continue to keep praying. And like you said, we had to accept it. Once we saw it and we discerned it, we had to accept it.
Yes.
And once we did, let me get you to understand, guys, this was not something that was easy. We were to the point where we were like, okay, we've had all these other ones that weren't there. They didn't give us the information that we were looking for and needed. They weren't helping. And we were to the point where we were starting to literally sabotage it even more. So you're right. We had to, once we discerned it, we had to accept it. And we had to accept whatever came in that.
Right.
Which was a lot of going home talking, a lot of studying, a lot of things that Papa required that from us to do.
It was assignments.
It was assignments.
It was assignments. It was homework.
Homework.
It was communication.
Yes.
Exercises and different things like
Right.
that. It was a lot of correction.
Right.
And so
Because let me say this, because
yeah.
our communication was terrible.
boo-boo. The communication was boo-boo.
If you don't have the communication, I'm telling you, communication, and like they say, money issues, with all of this stuff, was right there, were piling up.
Right.
And then the fact that we were, talking at each other, not to one another.
Right.
All these things were adding up. And once they were adding up, we began to say, wait a minute, we're choking. We're falling apart here.
Right.
We're falling apart here. And so we had to realize that with all of the assignments and the homework, which was hard, it was really what it was doing. It was breaking us out from all of the debris and all of the things that we had allowed to be put around us to separate us. You had your wall up, I had my wall up. And it made us have to break the wall and bring the walls down so that we could talk, so that we could communicate, so that we could get to the root of the problem once we start seeing it. So that's why I was saying earlier, you have to come in a relationship with loving and knowing who you are as a person.
Right.
If you do not, and you're not good to yourself, you don't love yourself, you cannot expect someone else to. You're going to attract who you are.
Right.
Right?
Right.
Yeah.
And I love that you said that.
Yes.
And I got to tell the ladies this as well. You cannot change a man.
We said this before.
We've said this before. You cannot change a man. And it is even more difficult and probably near impossible to change a man who doesn't love himself. I'm going to say that again.
Yeah. That's
You,
so true.
as the woman, cannot change a man. And you cannot change a man who firstly doesn't love himself.
Right.
You can pray a man through. You can suggest the things that he can do to better love himself, as my wife did with me.
Yes.
But she couldn't force me or make me or change me herself.
No.
She can make the suggestions. She can even communicate the whys, the why it needs to be done,
Right.
even the how it can be done, and what she's doing to help it get done. But ultimately, it's up to me to change.
Right.
It's up to me. This is no slight to women when I make this statement. Us as men do not know how vital we are, particularly in our generation today. Because society has in some ways tried to diminish our role
Yes.
in marriage and in relationships,
Yes.
period.
Absolutely.
In society, period.
Absolutely.
It has tried to demonize us. It has tried to minimize us, feminize us.
Yes.
All these different things that society is saying, oh, you don't need a man, or you don't need this man component in order for this to happen or for this to work. And the thing of it is that in our society, we're celebrating that somewhat.
Right.
We will celebrate, alternative lifestyles where there's no man in the relationship. And we talking about, yes, queen, yes. 2 women. And one is playing as the man. Now, this is not to bash those who are in same-sex, that's your business. This not,
We ain't trying to bash.
we're not bashing. But what we're saying is that man component, when you take that out, when you take that male man component out, it's going to falter. It's going to crumble eventually. Why? Because the way God intended it for it to be. The way God intended it to be.
You can't take God out of
You can't
nothing.
take God out of the equation.
No.
God is the nucleus.
That's right.
God is the nucleus. So how his original intention was for marriage and for a relationship, that man has to be there. He has to be. Or things are going to crumble. It may look good, and Hollywood makes it look good, and the secular society makes it look all good. Oh, it's glamorous, and yes, girl, yeah, queen. Okay. Bring kids in. Bring some children in. Raise them without the father. You're going to have hell on earth on your hands. Why? Because the man component is a vital component in a marriage.
Right.
In a marriage. So we gotta understand, we gotta ask our question. Do we really know what love is? Because in our society today, it's being redefined in so many different ways,
Right.
outside
Right.
of, again, our faith-based perspective, our faith-based beliefs. Now, if that's not your belief, we're not here to argue with you.
No.
If that's not your perspective, that's not what you believe, we're not here to argue with you. You're free to do what everyone on this planet has been given free will. Even God doesn't fight you. He does not fight you on what you want to do. You have free will to do what you want to do. But for those who want help, or for those who want the answers, or for those who are seeking, then that's what we're here to do.
Right.
Is to help provide answers that have helped us.
Right. In our marriage.
In our marriage.
Right.
That can in turn help someone else that is currently married or looking to be married.
Right.
That's what it's about, fam.
That's what it's about. And I must say this again. What love is communication. Love is understanding. Love is tenderness. Love is not seeking wrong in each other, right? Love is so many of these things. When you know, even when people are going through marriages of sickness, when someone is sick, I remember seeing, unfortunately, I saw this show long time ago. Remember Cheaters?
Yeah.
I saw a show, saw that on Facebook, and I saw this woman had the cheater crew go to this drugstore. Her husband was there getting the prescription for his wife. And when he was there getting the prescription for his wife, he also was there with another woman, which was his mistress. And she walked in and she asked him, "What are you doing?" "I'm here." He was taken back because he didn't think that, who is all these people? What are you doing? He was like, "I'm getting your medication." She was like, "But who is this?" And she was like, "Who are you?" And she said, I'm his wife." He said, he told me that you were almost dead. She said, I have stage 4 cancer.
Wow.
And he said, "Why are you doing this?" She said, "Why are you doing this to me? I married you when you were sick and when you were going through. I was there for you. I loved you." And you know what the man said? "I didn't sign up for all this when you got sick. I didn't sign up for that." She said, "I didn't either. I didn't sign up to have stage 4 cancer." He said, "I was lonely. I wanted somebody with me." She said, "I was there for you." That's why we totally say this to singles that are looking. Be very, very prayerful, very cautious, very discerning.
Right.
Hear from God. I'm talking about those who are of faith. Hear from God. This woman is stage 4 cancer, honey. And she looked at her husband and looking at him holding hands with another woman while he's waiting for her prescription to be filled.
Wow.
And he's saying, "I didn't sign up for this." Now, I'm like Papa tell us, we ain't talking about sickness and death, because when we start talking about that, you'll have what you say.
Right.
But in the event that sickness does come,
Right.
is that a deal breaker?
Right.
If that's a deal breaker, that's not love.
No.
So this woman is getting ready. I mean, she's sick. I mean, she don't have to die just because she got stage 4, but she's very sick. She had a wig on.
I can even add in our relationship. Let's bring it home
Right.
to reality.
To reality. Let's do
Not
that.
just reality TV.
Right.
We have been through changes. We have been through things
Right.
medically, Our bodies have changed.
Absolutely.
I'm not the same size and everything that when you first met me.
Right.
You aren't either.
No.
So we've been through things. We've been to the hospitals together.
Yes.
Where I've been laid up in the hospital bed, you've been laid up in the hospital bed.
Yes.
When we were dating and as we've been married.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So, no, that's not a deal breaker, because when I said vows before a witness and before God and before you, my vow is to do this. Now, like you said, and we didn't do the traditional, from till death do us part.
We didn't do that.
No,
We wrote our vows.
we're not speaking death.
No.
You dig? We're
And
speaking
sickness
life.
and none of that.
We're not speaking sickness
Right.
and health. No, it's health only.
Right.
The Bible says above only, never beneath.
Never.
So we're not speaking in sickness and all that stuff.
Right.
But we stayed because that was a crack in the foundation that we had to bring people in or accept the help that was brought to us
Accept it.
to say, you know what? I see some cracks in your foundation
Right.
that need some work.
Yeah.
Again, the more valuable the building and the structure on that foundation, the more you're going to have to monitor the structure and the foundation that it's built upon.
Right.
That's if it's of value. Now, if it's something that you're looking to build up and tear down in a couple of years that people are doing all the time, then it's of no value. Then do whatever you want to do with it, but don't call it marriage. Don't call it marriage. Because marriage is supposed to last. Marriage is supposed to be built on the foundation of love. And even though you may not have had it modeled in your life with your parents or with other people around you,
Right.
you need to know what love isn't. Love isn't revengeful. Love doesn't go get revenge. Oh, he did this to me. I'm gonna do this to him.
Right.
She did this to me. Oh, I'm getting her back. That's not love, fam.
No.
That's not love.
No.
Love is not backbiting and slanderous. Love is not competitive and in competition with your spouse.
That's right. Oh gosh.
That's not love. Love says, I back my spouse in what she wants to do and what her dreams are.
And what he wants to do.
And vice
Right.
versa.
Absolutely.
Love is not saying, oh, I'm because her name is getting called upon.
That's right.
Or she's going out and doing the tours and the shows or the or bringing in the money, the bigger amount of money. I'm not jealous of that. I'm not competitive with my spouse.
Right.
Because when she goes out there and she's working hard and she's bringing the money, it's for us to live. It's for us to survive. I'm not tripping if she's making more than me.
That's right.
Because guess what? We were two that became one.
That's right.
And if it's built on a foundation of love, baby, go and make all the money you want to make.
That's right. Right.
Because when God blesses you, guess what? He blesses us.
That's right.
And when God blesses me, he's blessing you and he's blessing us.
That's right. Absolutely.
Love isn't competitive with one another.
No, it's not. It's not.
And love is not hurtful. Love
Right.
doesn't go upside your head with a brick.
That's right.
Love doesn't go upside your head with a skillet. Love is not pinning you against the wall and smacking you around. I got to be graphic here because there's some sisters, I just feel like there's some sisters that are watching that are questioning, well, he say he loved me. He loved me. Not with that black eye, he don't. Not with them lacerations on your arm. Not with that punch to the stomach, he don't. He loved me.
No, that's not love.
You're going to have to ask yourself the question, do you know? Do you know what love is?
And for men, okay, if you always have to buy and go spend and your money all the time, that's not love.
That's not love.
Okay, me and my husband, there's times we're business owners. There's times when he didn't have money to go and do all these things. Okay, it doesn't take all of that It's okay to have that. But when it's always, I need the credit card to go to the mall.
Right.
I need to go get my hair. I need to go get my install put in. How much is it, babe? Oh, it's only $500. Okay, I'll get it. I'll try to get the money for you. If you're always constantly as a man have to always buy,
It's not love.
that's not love.
It's not love.
So it goes both ways.
Right.
Be careful. Just because she's fine, okay? We have to have some understanding of what love is. Again, I'll say this again. Love is loving who you are first. Because when you love who you are first, you will not put up with all those things that are not love.
Right.
It has to come from a place of that first.
Yes.
So again, to my men, if you're overly doing things to make a woman happy, then you are spinning your wheels and you're wasting your time.
Right.
Because you'll never make her happy. You can put her in the biggest house on the block. She can drive the baddest car. She can have the baddest install, the biggest purse that bigger than the Kardashians can carry. But if that's not, she's not still not satisfied, you can't buy love.
No. No.
Vice versa, you cannot buy love. It has to come from a place of authenticity.
Yes.
It has to be
Authentic.
authentic. Why can I get it out? It has to be authentic. It has to be.
It has to be.
Yeah.
Fellas,
Yeah.
her prerequisite of showing love is not always you buying something. It shouldn't be.
Not.
I remember times when we were dating, again, because of the age difference. I'm in between careers, in between jobs. I'm figuring out who I am, what I want to do in life. And there were times I couldn't afford to take her to a movie and put butter on the popcorn. Okay, babe, you can get the popcorn, but I'm praying she don't want no butter on it. I'm praying she ain't thirsty. You can get this popcorn, but that Sprite is like $4. God, I hope she don't want no Sprite.
You remember that time? I remember when I turned 40, I think it was. And you were, I can't remember the car you were driving. I think it was a stick shift or something.
Nah, I ain't never drove no stick shift.
It was not a stick,
It was raggedy, but it wasn't no stick shift.
Yeah, but it was, I can't remember the car. But I remember we went down to the Ross Perot museum. And I remember you got me this cupcake. I remember that day you were so upset on my birthday, and I was so mad at you because you were upset. And I didn't understand what was going on. You were not happy. It made that day unenjoyable. And you ended up I remember it very, very vividly. And you ended up telling me I had to just say, take me home. I'm done today. This is my birthday, not yours. If you don't want to celebrate it, that's fine.
Yeah.
But you end up telling me let me tell you why I'm upset. I could not afford to take you out to a nice dinner. I remember it.
Yeah.
I couldn't afford it. And you were so upset that you couldn't do that. And I am, again, I'm not that type of person. Love for me is action.
Yeah.
You have to demonstrate it to me, not just with things.
But
let me just finish that.
Yeah.
Not just with things. And so it was a constant struggle trying to get you to understand
yeah,
that.
that's what I was gonna say.
Yeah, because you kept saying, because you were accustomed to that with other women.
Exactly.
Buying. And I was looking at the bigger picture. There was a bigger picture, and I knew that. Spiritually, I knew that.
Right. And see, that's what me being younger than you, I thought that me showing that I could be the provider, showing that I could provide the security that you needed was, oh, I gotta buy this, or I gotta be able to afford this.
Right.
That was in my head.
That was in your head.
Right.
Right.
And it took you
Yeah.
being patient. Key word, patient. Love is patient.
It is.
We were already building the cement, the foundation with love. So I thank God, and I don't even remember that, but I thank God that you were patient enough with me to understand that his way or his thinking of showing me love is by being able to buy this or to afford this or going to this kind of place.
Right.
Because there was a time when I could.
Yes.
And when I could, when a man, let me say something to the ladies, and let me say something to you. When a man has a good woman, that brother wants to go out for her. He wants to go all out for her. When you got a good woman, that's beyond ethnicity. Any man who knows he's got a good woman, it will make it, you want to get out of the bed in the morning and do what you got to do. You'll get 2 hours of sleep at night, but you know that you want to provide and do for this good woman. For me, I wanted you to have the best. I still do.
Oh yeah.
You dig? But if we did not build that on patience and love and a foundation, it would just have been me giving you stuff.
Right.
And you accepting stuff.
Yeah.
And us never having a foundation, because the wind has come, the winds have blown, and has rattled the windows. It has knocked down the doors.
Right.
But we're still standing. The foundation is still rock solid.
It has to
And
be
it has
built
to
on
be.
that foundation.
It has to be built on rock.
Yes.
And if it's not, and if something comes and blows this down, guess what? We've got enough in us now to where we can rebuild.
Yes.
And we can rebuild bigger and better
Right.
than what we had originally.
Absolutely.
But if that foundation ain't right, y'all, if the foundation of love isn't there, and that's the question you're going to have to ask yourself. And you're going to have to take a hard, reflective look at yourself and at your relationship and say,
Yeah.
is this really based on love? And you know that when you're dating.
Yeah, you do.
You know that when you're dating. If you're hiding stuff from the person that you're dating,
Yes.
if you're hiding pertinent information that you know this person needs to know about you and vice versa, that person is doing it too,
Yes.
then you need to really ask yourself, do I know what love is?
Right.
Because love is not going to hide pertinent information that this person needs to know about me.
Right.
I want her to know those things. And like an onion, we're peeling back layers all the time, even now in our marriage, where we're figuring stuff out about each other and we're learning stuff that we didn't know about each other. Oh, okay, I know when I do this, her reaction is this.
Yeah. Right.
You dig what I'm saying?
Right.
But that's what love is, patient enough to find that out.
Right.
And then love is kind enough to accept your reaction to it. Even if it might not be a reaction that I thought you would have towards it.
Right.
At least now, love allows me to be patient and kind enough to know, okay, her reaction was this. Now I can record that in my heart, in my memory, to know, okay, I either know to do that again or to not do that again.
Right.
Because
Same here.
love, the component of love, the foundation of love, teaches me how to love you.
That's so beautiful.
And I have to have that. As a man, I have to have love for myself. And I have to have love for you and patience and sincerity in you. I have to have that component if this thing is going to work.
Absolutely.
If not, if it's lopsided and it's one-sided with you
Right.
have shown all the love and you doing all this and you're
Right.
doing all that, if it's that, then we got nothing.
Right. And it will wear out quickly.
Right.
I've seen, and I've said this to you, I've saw marriages that were together for years on paper, but separated in the same house.
Right.
Because why? The foundation was not solid. And like you said, this thing has to be solid. That means the relationship between your husband and you, the transparency, the openness, the willing to communicate, even when it's hard, to talk about things, talk things through,
Yes.
to get an understanding, to figure out where you are so that you can make things better in your marriage. To love each other through the times, some rough times and some good times, to do all of that. You have to be willing to. So you have to look at, you have to understand and know what is love. And if you do not know, you being single, again, we said earlier, make sure that you find out who you are first. That's where love comes from, within yourself. Of course, God is first.
Right.
That's without saying, goes without saying. But you got to love you. And when you love you, you'll find the person that will love you the way you supposed to be loved and you should be loved.
Right.
And when you get married, when all of the ceremony is over, because it's going to be over. You know, all of the dresses and the flower girls and the bridesmaids and the guys looking dapper and everybody dancing and all of that is going to be over. What's next?
Right.
What's next?
What's next?
So, again, what is love? Love is patient. Love is kind. Love is not boastful. Love does not keep a record of wrong. Love is tender. Love is understanding. Love gives and gives and gives without looking to receive back. Yeah. Because why I say that? Because when you do that to the right person, you don't have to worry about getting that back. You'll get it back more than you are ever imagined. That is love.
I remember not being, and I made a joke of it earlier, but I remember not being able to take you to certain places when we were dating.
Yeah.
Not having the money to go here and there and here and there. And I remember I said, one day, babe, I'm gonna be able to take you around the world. I said, one day, I'm gonna be able to take you around the world. And I didn't know that we were gonna be in for a roller coaster ride. I didn't know that we would be up and down and up and down.
Right.
I didn't know that. I didn't anticipate that, let me say it that way.
Correct.
But from the stage where we were dating to where I could not afford to put cheese on the hamburger, I appreciated the fact that that wasn't a prerequisite for you.
Right.
It wasn't a demand of yours that, no, you got to do this, this, and this, and this, and this.
No.
Because of that, and because of the patience, and because the love that you had for me was genuine, to push me forward, to push me in my dreams as an entrepreneur. I'm gonna tell you something, ladies. If you got an artist or an entrepreneur, you probably have the most difficult man on the planet.
Yes, you do.
You have the most complex, because our minds are having to create a living for ourselves.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
If I'm a basketball player, I can go out here and play basketball for a team and they cut me a check based on my productivity of playing for that team. But if I'm an entrepreneur, I have to create my check.
That's right.
If I'm an artist, my skill and my talent has to create the money that we're going to live off of. And if I don't create that avenue, then guess what? We're going to be broke together.
Right.
I say that because you were patient enough. Again, there's that key word, patience. You were patient in me to say, no, I believe in what he's doing.
Right.
And not just that you believed in me, but you saw me doing.
I saw you doing.
Yes. Fellas.
Constantly, still.
Your wife has to see you doing.
Yes.
Now, I went through periods where I didn't do my doing. Let's not get it twisted. I wasn't always doing my doing.
Right, right.
But again, that's when you need some reinforcement. You need someone that you're going to accept the help that comes to you and says, hey, young blood, you need to tweak some things here so you can get this back on track the way you want it to be,
Right.
And once I received that help that came from other men, then I was able to put things back on track and show that consistency to my wife to say, no, I'm fighting for us. Even when I don't fully understand, I don't see the step after the step that I've taken.
Right.
The staircase is dark, but I'm willing to take a step,
Right.
believing that there's another step in front of that step and in front of that step.
Right.
Fellas, that's imperative for your woman to see, because that is the security. That's the security component that love exemplifies.
Right. Yeah,
Love
so good.
shows security.
Say it again.
Love shows security.
Security.
And you don't show security without consistency.
Oh gosh.
If I'm a celebrity and I don't always have my bodyguard or my security with me, then guess what? I'm vulnerable to attacks from common people. If I'm a dignitary, if I'm the president, if I'm an ambassador of a nation, I need to have my security around me consistently. Because if I don't, I open myself up to be vulnerable to just any old body.
That's right.
So what a woman looks for, love shows security.
Yes, it does.
And in security has to always be consistent. Even when you fall off for a minute, you get right back up and okay, baby, I'm on it.
Right.
I had to take a day or a couple of hours on this day, but baby, I'm back on it.
Right.
I had a down 24 hours. I had a down 48 hours.
Right.
But baby, before this weekend, I'm back on point with it.
Right.
That consistent security is what she wants. And that is how they are wired to feel love from us as men.
That's right.
That's how they are wired to feel protection from us as men, is that you're providing consistency across the board.
Right.
So fellas,
Absolutely.
love is saying or finding out what's her love language. Love is taking the time to fix you so you can be the puzzle piece that fits her and that you make a beautiful picture together. I can remember being a kid and putting a puzzle together and getting frustrated when I couldn't find certain pieces to lock in with the piece that I'm working with. And I would get frustrated and just take a piece and try to jam it into there, knowing that, okay, this piece don't fit here. But if you're missing any piece of the puzzle, you're not going to get the full picture. And if those components of love there are not there, and that foundation isn't solid on love and consistency and patience and kindness, then you're going to have some trouble.
Kindness. That's right.
My wife needs me to be kind to her. And I had to learn that. My wife can tell you, I'm very serious. I joke around and I clown with people when I'm comfortable around you. I'm a Capricorn.
Right.
So I don't give that to everybody. Everybody doesn't get that space or that persona of Landa. But even in my seriousness, I had to learn this is my wife. So I got to turn that off. I can't have that on with her. Now, if I'm dealing business out here, I'm going to be shrewd when it comes to business. And shrewd isn't a bad word.
No.
But I'm going to be focused and I'm going to be shrewd about my business because that's how we take care of a family. That's how I take care of my wife and my well-being. But when it comes to my wife, she deserves kindness. She deserves that tone of voice to be turned off. And I have to be cognizant of that. I have to be aware of that. Oh, Landa, you can't go into that shell today. Oh, Landa, you can't be businessman right now. Oh, Landa, you can't be the artist right now.
Right.
You're the husband 24/7. And so she needs kindness and she needs consistency. and she needs me.
Absolutely.
She don't need businessman Landa. She don't need, quiet, introverted artist Landa or sensitive artist Landa. She needs the husband,
That's right.
the kindness, the gentleness, the tenderness that love is as well.
That's excellent. Absolutely.
Is that cool?
That's absolutely excellent. It's true.
Can I get some? Already.
This is my brother right
Already.
here.
You know why, fam? This is my wife, but she's also God's daughter. I am responsible of how I treat God's daughter. And to my single ladies, you better and you want a man that is aware of how he is supposed to treat God's daughter. I'm reminded of the movie Bad Boys with Will Smith and Martin Lawrence. And in the first Bad Boy movie, I think it was Martin Lawrence's character, his daughter was going on a date or going to her prom or something like that. And the boy comes to the door. And he comes to the door showing his gun, and he's all rough and everything. And he's playing with the boy, but he's showing the dad's macho
Right.
security for his daughter. Like,
Right.
yo, my daughter needs to come back home in one piece, untouched,
Right.
unscathed, homie. If she don't, this is who you're gonna be dealing with. Okay, then that's a movie with bad boys, and he's flashing the gun with it.
Right.
But don't you know God is the same way with his daughters?
Yeah.
God is a parent.
Absolutely.
Gracious Father. We write songs, Heavenly Father, gracious friend. But he's also a dad, and he's also a warrior.
Yes, he is.
And the book says, I didn't come to bring peace. I came with a sword. I came to get the slicing if I need to.
That's right. That's
So
right.
we forget that component about God. He is a father, and he is
Right.
a strict one at that.
Right.
You want a man, ladies, that respects the fact that you're God's daughter, and he ain't gonna play with you just any kind of way.
No.
He ain't gonna play with your feelings. He's not gonna toss love back and forth with you. He ain't gonna, let me tell you what you want to hear so I can get in them draws next week. No. No man who respects God's daughter is coming at you like that.
No. No.
And no man that knows he's a son.
A son.
You dig?
Right.
He's got to know he's a son.
Right.
He's got to know his identity.
He has to.
He has to love himself. Because
Right.
if you know that you're a son and you love yourself, then you're not going to treat his daughter any kind of way.
Right.
Because then you got to deal with the father.
That's right.
I know this is going over some folks' head, especially
But
those who
it's
may
the
not
truth.
necessarily be Christians or believers,
Right.
but it's real talk. You don't want to treat that person in any kind of way, not when it should be based in love.
Right.
So let's answer the question. Do we know what love is? Because I know that our society is not modeling it and is not showing it all the time. And we don't have all of the things on display to remind us what true love is. And maybe, just maybe, that's God's way of saying the only way you're going to really know what true love is if you come back to me. Is if you come back to the source of love.
Yes.
And that's God.
That's it.
That's Christ. That's Yeshua.
Yeah.
The only way we're going to know what real love is and what it feels like is you got to go to the source.
You have to. Because he is love.
He is love.
That's right.
And when you want it bad enough, he says, when you seek me with your whole heart, then you'll find me. You know what? I would even slightly tweak that. Because he's not lost to where he needs to be found. He was always there. But when you open yourself up and start receiving the love that he's always been bestowing upon you, then you'll find him. Because he isn't lost. And his love was never lost. So he doesn't need to be found. You just need to receive and accept what has always been there.
Mm-hmm.
Is that okay?
That's great.
That's cool?
Absolutely awesome.
All right, cool. You guys, again, thank you so much for tuning in to the last episode for February, the month of love, right here on Living More with the Morgans. Please do us a favor. We want to grow the show.
Yes.
Grow the show.
Yes.
And if you found this program, this podcast to be insightful, to be entertaining, if you found it to where you're growing and you're learning something with us every week, then do us a favor. Tell some people about us. Share it on your wall. Share the social media handles. Go ahead and like us and follow us and connect with us. Again, we want to engage with people. We're not trying to be celebrities and superstars and all that stupid stuff now. We're about God's people, and we're about all people, and we're about bettering people.
That's right.
And that's why the show is called Living More. Because it's time for all of us to start living this thing, living more life, living it more abundantly. That's what God wants for us. Not to live in poverty, not to live below, not to live in bad marriages, not to live in things that we're settling for. No. He wants us to live the best life.
The best.
The good life.
Yes.
So we thank you so much for tuning in.
Thank you.
To Living More with the Morgans. We'll be back next Tuesday night, you guys, 8:30. Actually, we might be on 9 o'clock because we've got an engagement on Tuesday night that we usually go to on the first Tuesday nights of the month.
Yes.
And so we'll be coming on around 9 o'clock next Tuesday night. I believe that's March the 7th or so.
Yes.
We will be online around 9 o'clock. And so this rebroadcast will be available tomorrow on our YouTube channel and on our Facebook page. You can go back, check it out, send it to your people. We'll have snippets on our social media platforms that you can check out, engage with us, like us, follow us, and we'll definitely do the same. Until then, you guys, have a great night.
Have a wonderful night.
Have a great week, and we love you.
Yes, we love you.
Peace.